Hi students, welcome to this session here at Infinity Learn by Sri Chaitanya. Today we are discussing your paper Grand Test 5, the physics part of it. So let's get started with the questions. First one says, statement 1, the order of accuracy of a measurement depends on the least count of the instrument. This is an incorrect statement because we know accuracy just depends on how close the reading is to the actual value. The least count controls the precision of the instrument. Next, the smaller the least count, more number of significant figures. That is a correct statement. So statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct. It's option 3. Next one, the number of significant figures in this over here, that's 4 because the beginning zeros are never significant. You have 1, 2, 3 and the 0 is in between two non-zeros, so that's 4 digits. Option 2. Next one, a ball is thrown vertically up from the ground. Acceleration and the velocity are 0 at the maximum height. This is an incorrect statement because velocity is 0 at the maximum height, but acceleration is still there, which is acceleration due to gravity. Statement 2, during the motion of the ball in air, acceleration vector is directed downward always. Yes, because that's the gravity that's always directed downwards. So statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is, my mistake. Statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct, option 4. Okay. Next one, two projectiles of the same mass are launched with the same velocity thrown at an angle 30 degree and 60 degree. Which will be the same? Since 30 degree and 60 degree are complementary angles, we know for complementary angles, the range stays the same. So it is option 2. Next one, shell of mass 0.1 kg is fired by a gun of mass 10 kg. Muzzle speed of the gun is 50 meters per second, meaning the speed with which the bullet flies. That's 50 meters per second. What is the recoil speed of the gun? We know recoil speed of the gun is muzzle speed into bullet speed divided by the mass of the gun. Basically by conservation of momentum, you can do 0.01 times 50 divided by the mass of the gun is 10 kg. So if you plug it in, you will get option 4. Stuff like this don't even calculate. You see the only number you can get besides a order of 10 is 5. So there's only one option that is 5 with regards to some power of 10. Don't have to waste time in finding that power. Next, force of 10 Newton acts on a body of 0.5 kg for 0.25 seconds starting from rest. What is the impulse? Impulse is just force multiplied with time. This is useless information. It's just 10 multiplied with 0.25. The answer is 2.5. Next one, this says body of mass m moving with a constant velocity v hits another body of the same mass at rest and then it sticks to it. The velocity of the compound body is how much? So this is an inelastic collision. So we know m into v is basically 2m into v naught, because now both the masses are moving with the same speed. Take it out, v naught will come out to be v over 2. It's option 1. Next one, two bodies have the same kinetic energy, are having kinetic energy in the ratio 16:9. They have the same linear momentum. The ratio of the masses is how much? We know kinetic energy in terms of momentum, p square by 2m. So kinetic energy is inversely proportional to the mass if the momentum is the same. So if kinetic energy is in the ratio 16:9, mass will be in its reverse ratio, which is 9:16. Next one, two objects mass 10 kg, 20 kg are connected to the ends of a rigid rod of length 10 meter with negligible mass. The distance between the center of mass from the 10 kg mass is how much? So this is a two mass system. You have a mass m1 here, a mass m2 here. Distance between them, if you know, is d. Then if the center of mass is, let's say, formed over here, this distance r1, we know the formula, r1 is m2, the other mass into d divided by m1 plus m2. Plug them in, m2 is 20 kg, because we're finding distance from 10, so I'm treating that as m1. Distance is 10 meters over 10 plus 20, that's 30, so 10 by 30 is 3, you'll get 20 by 3, option 1. Next one, a girl sitting in a swivel chair while rotating brings her, swivel chair means the chair that spins. She brings her arms closer to her body so that her angular speed increases. In that case, which quantity is conserved? Straightforward, we know it's angular momentum because I omega has to stay constant. So if her I decreases by pulling her hands in, the omega value has to go up. This says a planet has a mass 8 times, radius 2 times that of the Earth. If the escape velocity is 11.2 kilometers per second for the Earth, then for the planet would be how? Look at the dependence for escape velocity. The escape velocity formula is root 2 gm over r. Now, if I make the mass as 8 times and the radius as 2 times, I'll not do the detailed calculation. You'll get a factor of 8 on top and a factor of 2 below. So 8 by 2 would give you a 4. Okay, that would be if you put a VD dash, that would be equal to, if you put 8, you'll get a root over of 4 times of VE. That's a 2 times of V because there's an 8 and a 2. So 8 and 2 will cancel, you'll get root 4. So that's 2 times of VE. That's double of 11.2, 22.4. This one, the stress versus strain graph for a metal wire is shown. In the graph, the region in which Hooke's law is obeyed, ultimate tensile strength and the fracture point on. So Hooke's law obeyed means it is straight line up till that point. So that's O to A. The maximum tensile stress strength is basically the D because that's the highest point in the stress. And eventually the fracture point is where it breaks off, that is E. So it is OA is the Hooke's law, D is the tensile point, maximum tensile point, E is the fracture point. This one says an ideal fluid flows through a pipe circular cross section made of 2 sections with diameters 2.5 and 3.5 centimeter. Ratio of their velocities is how much? We know by equation of continuity, we know velocity is inversely proportional to the area. So V1 by V2 is A2 by A1. Now the area is just pi R2 square by pi R1 square. Pi's cancel out. You have R2 by R1, that's 3.75 over 2.5 whole square. Goes with the 3, this goes with the 2. If you cancel with 1.25, so 3 square by 2 square, it would be 9:4. Option 1. No, I think it will be option 1. 9:4. Yep. Even though its diameter doesn't really matter, it's even if you put a diameter, so divided by 2, the 2's will anyway cancel out. It's option 1, 9:4. Next one, consider the following statements A and B and identify the correct choice in the given answers. Excess pressure inside a small liquid drop is more than that of a big drop. That's a correct statement because I know excess pressure is inside a liquid drop is 2T by R. It's inversely proportional to the radius. Smaller the radius, higher the excess pressure. Next, a liquid wets a solid if angle of contact between them is acute. That's a correct statement because if the angle of contact is acute, then the force of cohesion is stronger than the force of adhesion. So both are true, option 1. Okay. This one says rectangular body at 2000 Kelvin has a maximum intensity wavelength at lambda m. Its corresponding wavelength at 3000 Kelvin is what? We go by Wien's displacement law. We know lambda m is inversely proportional to the temperature. So just based on that, you can get that if at 2000 it was lambda m, there it would be 2/3 of this. If you plug them values in, you will get option 2. This one, match the following. So remember in match the following, don't try to match all of them first and then look at it. Match each one and eliminate options. Let's look at the first one. Pressure varies inversely with volume of an ideal gas. So P is inversely proportional to V. That will happen in an isothermal process because PV is a constant. So A matches with 3. Now don't match everything else. Look at the options. A matching with 3, so either this or this. Now between them, I can test for B because B is also different. So if I go for B, heat absorbed goes partly to increase internal energy, partly to do work. That can only happen for an isobaric process. Okay, because if it's an isothermal process, internal energy won't change. If it's an isochoric process, work done won't change. An adiabatic process, there can be no heat absorbed. So B goes with 4. So A with 3 and B with 4 is only there in option 4. That's it. Don't even have to solve all of it. Don't waste time there. Okay, 250 liters of an ideal gas is heated at a constant pressure from 27 degrees such that its volume becomes 500 liters. The final temperature is how much? So because it's a constant pressure, so you know your volume is proportional to temperature. If you double the volume, the temperature should also get doubled. But keep in mind, this is in kelvins. So you have, this is in Celsius, so you have to convert to kelvins. 27 degrees Celsius is basically 300 Kelvin. So if it doubles, it will become 600 Kelvin. So 600 Kelvin is 327 degrees Celsius. That's the answer. Don't go with 54. You have to always work thermodynamics with Kelvin, temperature in kelvins. Next one, displacement of a simple harmonic oscillator after 3 seconds starting from the mean position is equal to half its amplitude. The time period of the harmonic motion is how much? So basically x is equal to a by 2, half its amplitude. If I put it as a sine of omega t as the equation for it, that will tell me omega t should be equal to pi by 6, 30 degree. Omega is 2 pi over omega, 2 pi over the time period. The time, by the way, is given in the question to us as 3 seconds. That's a pi by 6. Take the pi's out. You have a t is equal to 6 multiplied with the 6. The answer is 36 seconds. Next, a transverse wave if passing through a string as shown. The density of the string is given, area of cross section is given, and the equation is given. So what is the hanging mass? How much mass is hanging over here? Use this to get the speed. This is your omega, this is your k. So your speed is omega by k, which is 150 over 3. That is 50 meters per second. Then you know for a stretch string, speed is basically root over of t by mu, or I can write tension is equal to mu times of v square. We don't know mass per unit length, but we know density and cross-sectional area. Mass per unit length is density into cross-sectional area. V square, I think everything is provided to us. Density is 1 kg. This is 0.01. Speed square, speed we got as 50, so I'll do 50 times 50. These zeros go out, get rid of that, that's 25. Now that's not the answer because this is the tension value. They are asking for the mass that is hanging. So mass that is hanging is the force divided by gravity, because mass into gravity gave you the force of 25. So the mass has to be 2.5 kg. This one says electric dipole consists of two opposite charges of magnitude 1 microcoulomb separated by a distance of 2 centimeter. The dipole is placed in an electric field given here, the maximum torque. So we know maximum torque is P into E. Dipole moment times the electric field. Dipole moment is charge multiplied with the length times the electric field. Charge is 1 microcoulomb. Distance is 2 centimeter, 2 into 10 to the power minus 2. And the electric field is 10 to the power minus 5. Again, you can do the calculation, but I'll tell you, see all the 10 to the powers are there. They will maybe create some 10 to the power minus plus whatever, don't care. The only numerical value besides that is 2. Only one option here has 2 and a 10 to the power. That's it. You don't even have to calculate what the 10 to the power is. Save time here. Next, electric field in a region of space is given by E vector is 5 I cap plus 2 j cap. The electric flux due to the field in an area of 2 meters square YZ plane. So think about what the area vector is. Remember, if they give you a plane, the area vector magnitude is provided. Is it an I cap, j cap, k cap? How do you figure it out? Whichever coordinate you see missing in that plane, that is the coordinate where the area vector will go. So it's yz, so the missing one is x, so the area vector will be in the I cap direction, in the x direction. Because the area vector is perpendicular to the plane. So perpendicular to y and z is what? It's x. If they would have said it's the xz plane, then it's perpendicular between x and z, y is missing. Then it would have been 2j cap. Go with that. Once you have that, your flux is basically just the dot product of electric field and area. If you go with the dot product, just the I caps will multiply, j caps is not there here, so it doesn't matter. 5 multiplied with the 2, the answer is 10. Okay. Next one, you have the charges 5 microcoulomb, minus 2 microcoulomb, 3 microcoulomb and minus 9 placed at the corners A, B, C, D of a square of side 1 meter. Net electric potential at the center of the square is. Don't go into detailed calculation with angles and all that because you're talking about potential. If it's potential, like just for explaining purposes, I'll show it to you. You should technically do it mentally. You have 5, you have a minus 2, you have a 3, you have a 9. Doesn't even matter where they are placed. You want it over here. Distance is basically a by root 2, side length by root 2, so it's 1 by root 2 here. Now think about it, each of them are at the same distance, so their contribution to the potential, and again potential is just a scalar function. So at the end of the day, I can just find the net charge here. The net charge is how much? 5 minus 2 minus 9 plus 3. That would go to minus 11 and that's an 8, that's a minus 3 if I am not mistaken. Yes, that's a minus 3, that's the charge. Now why do I get the net charge? Because at the end, if I were to go with the detailed calculation, I would have put k into 5 divided by 1 by root 2, then minus k into 2 divided by 1 by root 2, so on and so forth. At the end, this k into 1, k root 2, I could have pulled out constant, and I would have at the end of the day added the charges. So these are the shortcut tricks that save you time. So you go k root 2 multiplied with the net charge, that's a minus 3. K is 9 into 10 to the power 9. Again, don't go into the detailed calculation. I know there will be a 9 into 3, 27, and a root 2. There's only one option with 27 root 2. Order of magnitude you only consider if you look at the different options and they have different order of magnitude. You see, you don't even need to look at the order of magnitude here because every number is different. So at that point, you can just look at the number part of it and you'll get the option by eliminating. Next one, we have this equivalent capacitance of the network given is 1 microfarad. One method you can do, obviously assume it is C, equivalent is 1.5 plus C, so on and so forth. And then the parallel, that's comparatively a more difficult one. Look at the values provided to you. You have 1 microfarad. Assume this has some equivalent, C equivalent. You will get 1 microfarad if 3 capacitors, all of them have exactly 3 microfarad. Because then you will have 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3, 3 by 3, that's equal to 1. These are the things you have to predict. Once you know it is 3 microfarad, once you know it's 3 microfarad, then you know that comes from 1.5 plus C, then C also should be 1.5. Again, you can do the detailed thing. You can write 1.5 plus C, then parallel, keep the equation in C, then equate with 1, and do it quicker. Do it quicker. You don't have that much time. Achha, next comes the potential drop across the 3 ohm resistor over here. So how do we figure it out? What is the equivalent of this? The equivalent of this you can calculate is 3 times 6 by 3 plus 6. That will give you 2 ohms. So that's a 2 ohms and a 4 ohms basically in series. That's 6 ohms with 3.3 volt. The current flowing would be 0.5 amperes. Now you find that this 2 ohm across the 0. With the current flowing, the equivalent is 2 ohms for this part. With 0.5 ampere, the net potential difference it will create is 0.5 times the resistance of 2, that is 1 volt. That's it. These two are in parallel. So 3 ohm also gets the 1 volt, 6 ohm also gets the 1 volt. Answer is option 1. This one says, shown in the figure below is a meter bridge setup with null deflection in the galvanometer. If it is showing null deflection in the galvanometer, you can go with the formula if you need. This is like 80 centimeter. You know over here, just think about from a Wheatstone bridge point of view. Basically 55 by 20 would be R divided by 80, right? There you have it. Goes with the 4, cross multiplying and you get 220. If you apply L by X by L minus X and all of that, can do that. Same thing here. Electric bulb is rated 50 watts to 100 volts connected across now with a 100 volt supply. The power dissipation is what? Don't calculate resistance then solve. You know that resistance is the same, right? So power is basically equal to V square by R. If R is constant, then power is proportional to V square. That's it. That's all you need. So P1 by P2 is V1 by V2 whole squared. V1 by V2 is, the original was 200. This is 100 whole squared. That's basically a 4. Now originally when it was 200, then it was 50. So P2 then is P1 by 4. So it's 50 by 4. The answer is 12.5. Option 3. This question says a long, thin, hollow metallic cylinder, radius R, has a current I over here, magnetic induction B from the axis at a distance R. Look at the options, right? It's a lot easier even if you don't remember the relation. If it's a hollow metallic cylinder and I'm looking at it from the direction of the way the current is flowing, right? This is not the wire. The wire is literally moving into it. So at that point, I know the current is only flowing along the surface because it's hollow. Inside there's nothing. So if I were to consider an Amperian loop inside, the net enclosed current would be 0. So the net magnetic field should be 0 everywhere inside. Now don't calculate. You see there is literally only one option where magnetic field stays 0 until it reaches the surface. That's it. In RE-NEET, they don't expect you to do full detailed calculation. Look at the options, eliminate stuff. This says a voltmeter has a resistance of 2000 ohm and it can measure up to 2 volt. If we want to increase its range to 10 volts, then the required resistance in series is going to be what? So whenever they say a voltmeter is there, I'm increasing its range, or an ammeter is there, increasing its range, the original one treat it like a galvanometer. So even though they are saying it's a voltmeter, forget about it, treat it like a galvanometer. This is then your galvanometer resistance. This is then the voltage it can take. Now you might think, for my voltmeter formula, I need the current. What is the maximum current the galvanometer can take? If it can take up to 2 volts with 2000 ohm, the current it can take is basically V by R, 2 divided by 2000. That's it. Now we know the current capacity of the galvanometer, we know its resistance, we want to convert it to a voltmeter of 10 volts. So I know the shunt resistance formula is V by Ig minus G. V is given 10 volts, Ig is 10 to the power minus 3, G is 2000. That's basically 10,000 minus 2000, you get the answer as 8,000, option 4. Next one, force per unit length on a wire carrying current 8 ampere making an angle of 30 degree with the uniform magnetic field is how much? We know the formula, force is equal to ILB sine theta. They want force per unit length, so it's basically F by L that you're looking at. So you just have IB sine theta. Current is given 8 amperes, magnetic field is given 0.15. Sine theta, theta is 30 degrees, sine 30 is half. Goes with a 4, 4 into 0.15 is 0.6. Option 3. Okay, this one says ferromagnetic property depends on temperature. At high temperature, ferromagnet becomes a paramagnet. Yes, that's a correct statement. Next, at high temperature, domain wall area of ferromagnetic substance decreases. Nope, that is an incorrect statement. In high temperatures, the ferromagnetic, essentially all the magnetic dipoles inside it, the molecular dipoles, they get randomly aligned. So over here, its statement 1 is true, 2 is false. Option 1. Okay. This one says magnetic flux linked with a coil is given by phi is equal to 5t square plus 3t plus 6. What is the EMF induced? E is equal to d phi dt. If you differentiate 5t square, that will give you a 10t. This will give you a 3. This is a constant, it's going to give you a 0, don't bother about it. You want in the 4th second, so t equal to 4, if you put it in 10 into 4, 40 plus 3, answer is 43 volts. Next one, the wingspan of an aeroplane is 20 meters flying in a field where the vertical component is already given to you, 5 into 10 to the power minus 5. Velocity is 360, convert it to meters per second, so it's 360 times 5 over 18. Goes with the 20, that's 100 meters per second. Okay. Once I have that, I want potential difference. We just go with E is equal to BVL. The magnetic field is already perpendicular to the length. They have given vertical, so great for us. 5 into 10 to the power minus 5 multiplied with the speed, that's a 20. Multiplied with, speed is not 20. Length is 20, speed is 100. If you look here again, see the numerical values for the options are all different. So I don't bother about the 10 to the powers. What do I have? The numerical, that's a 5 into 2. 5 into 2 is still a 10. So there can be no other value except 1, 10, 100, 0.1, all of those. Option 1. Okay. This says power factor of the AC circuit is how much? So where VC is given, current is given. Okay, I can find the XC. XC is VC by I, which is basically 50 ohms. This way I can find what is XL. XL is also VL by I. That will give me 80 ohms. Right? Yeah. This is going to give me 80 ohms. Now, what is the power factor? Cos phi is basically R by Z, which is R resistance. So R by Z is root over of XL minus XC whole squared plus R squared. R is 40. XL minus XC is 80 minus 50, that's a 30 square. Plus R square is another 40 square, that's a 40 divided by root 30 square plus 40 square is 50. That's a 4 by 5, it is 0.8. Option 1. Next one, primary winding of a transformer has 500 turns, whereas its secondary has 5000 turns. The primary is connected to an AC supply, 20 volt, 50 hertz. The secondary will have an output of how much? We know the EMF, E1 by E2, is N1 by N2. If the number of turns I am making 10 times from 500 to 5000, the voltage should also go from by 10 times 20 volt to 200 volt, and the frequency never changes in a transformer. So it is 200 volt and 50 hertz. This one says electromagnetic waves carry energy as they travel through space, and this energy is equally shared by the electric magnetic fields. Yes, that's a correct statement. Theoretically, we know half epsilon naught E square or half B square by mu naught, they are equal in value. If you put B is equal to E by C. Electromagnetic waves strike a surface, a pressure is exerted, yes, I by C or 2I by C depending on reflecting or non-reflecting. So both statements are correct. Option 2. Yes. This one says in a plane electromagnetic wave traveling in space, electric field component, frequency is given, okay, amplitude is given, amplitude of the oscillating field. Now the frequency is useless. I know the amplitude of the magnetic field is basically E divided by C, that's 48 over 3 into 10 to the power 8 goes with a 16. 16 into 10 to the power minus 8, which is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 7, option 4. This says if the distance between an object and its 3 times magnified virtual image produced by a curved mirror is 20 centimeter, the focal length of the mirror must be what? Now first, there are a few important things to note here. You see, if it's magnified and virtual, you know for sure that mirror has to be a concave mirror. A convex mirror can create a virtual image, but it's always diminished. So that way, I know this is my mirror, okay. Suppose I put the object here, and the distance is u0, and by u0 I mean the magnitude is u0. Sign convention I'll put later on. Let's say the image is formed here. This is magnitude is v0. I know v0 by u0 is equal to 3. v0 by u0 is basically 3, so v0 is equal to 3 u0. Again, I'm working with just the magnitudes over here. Now once I have that, you might say there is a negative sign, yes, but then I would have also had to put minus u0, right? So I don't go into that, I'm just dealing with magnitudes. Now when I apply it in the mirror formula, 1 by v plus 1 by u equals 1 by f, here I put with the appropriate sign convention. So v is what? It is positive, so it's plus v0. But the object distance, its length, magnitude is u0, but it's to the left, so I put minus 1 by u0. That's a 1 by f, right? So, there's one more thing that's given. The distance between both of them, so is 20 centimeters. So I know v0 plus u0 is 20. I can take the u0 here and make 4 u0 is 20, because v0 is 3 u0 plus u0. So u0 then is 5. Great. Over here, let's see what I can swap out. I can put it 1 by 3 u0 minus 1 by u0. That's a 1 by f. This is minus 2 by 3 u0. That's a 1 by f. So f is basically minus of 3 by 2 times u0. u0 is what? It's 5. So 2 by 5 is 2.5, or basically 3 by 2 of 5 is 7.5 minus 7.5 centimeter. Please, in these kind of questions, work with magnitudes first and only apply sign convention at the very end. Okay, when you plug in the values in the equation. This one says a fish at a depth of 12 centimeter in water is viewed by an observer in the bank of a lake. Through what height is the image of the fish raised? So over here we know real depth by apparent depth is equal to the refractive index. So the apparent depth is the real depth by the refractive index, that's a 12 divided by 4 by 3 goes with a 3, that's 9 centimeter. Now that's not the answer, please read questions carefully. They are asking through what height is the image raised. So it was at 12 but it appears at 9, so it is raised by 3 centimeter. Okay. Next one. Tube length of an astronomical telescope is 105 centimeter. Magnifying power is 20 for normal setting. Focal length of the objective. So we know tube length is FO plus FE in normal setting. That's given as 105. And magnification is FO by FE, that is 20. So I know FO is basically 20 FE. Okay. You plug it in here, basically you will get 21 FE, then is 105. FE then is equal to 5. So if FE is 5, you can plug in any of the equations, you will get FO is 100 centimeter. Next, in Young's double slit experiment, if the separation between the coherent sources is halved and the distance of the screen from the coherent sources is doubled, then the fringe width becomes half. Becomes how much? So it is lambda, the fringe width is lambda capital D over small d. If the distance of the screen is doubled, if you make this double, and d is made half, there will be an extra factor of 2 coming on top if you put d by 2. So essentially it will become 4 times. Okay. Students, start practicing this. Instead of putting beta 1 by beta 2 is lambda 1 by lambda 2. You have to write a lot. That's a lot of wastage of time. So practice this during your practice. If you have not practiced, don't do it directly in the exam. But basically looking at the relation and based on that, just putting the values in and figuring out how many times it would be. Achha, next thing, if the wavelength of light in an experiment on a photoelectric effect is doubled, keeping the intensity constant, photoelectrons may, so if I am doubling the wavelength, basically means I am reducing the frequency. So I am giving less energy through each photon to each electron. So photoelectrons may or may not be emitted. Of course, if that is the energy is less than the threshold energy or what we call as the work function, then it won't be emitted. Stopping potential decreases, yes, because if I give less energy and if electrons are coming out, they'll have lesser energy. So stopping potential would be low. Stopping potential increases, nope. Electrons emitted number increases, no. That only depends on intensity. Intensity constant, so number of electrons is constant. It is A and B are true. Option 1. This one says, match the following. What is the purpose of each of them? So you have moderator, control rods, coolant, so on and so forth. So match whichever are easy for you and then go for option C. The easiest one, you know, coolant absorbs heat. The name itself says it. So D with E is either this or this. Okay. Don't test for C. This is where you have to apply logically. Why do I not test for C? That's a waste of time. Because both of them have the same C option. So I'll get no distinction. These two are already out of the picture. So I can either test for A or I can test for B. So let's see, we have the control rods. So control rod's job is to absorb the neutrons. Goes with a G. So B with G, it's an option 1. That's it. Okay. This one says angular momentum of an electron in the hydrogen atom is 3h by 2 pi. The kinetic energy of this electron is going to be what? So if it is 3h by 2 pi, I know this 3 then is equal to n, and the kinetic energy is 13.6 by n square. You might think, isn't that total energy? No. Total energy is minus 13.6 by n square. The kinetic energy is the positive version of total energy and the potential energy is double that of the total energy. Okay, you have that same logic in gravitation also. So 13.6 by 9, 3 square, right? That's 9. If you plug it in, you will get 1.51. This one says in the following circuit, the power dissipated by the Zener diode. So power dissipated by the Zener diode, I need to find what is the current passing through it. So how much current is there in IL? You see a 9 volt over 900 ampere, 900 ohm. So V by R, that is 0.01. Okay, that's IL. Over here, 15 volt out of that 9 volt is used up here. So this basically gets access to just 6 volt. So here this, let's call it I, that is 6 divided by 200, which is basically 3 by 100, okay, which is 0.03. Yeah. So the current, the IZ then is basically I minus IL, which is 0.03 minus 0.01, which is 0.02. We got the current. The current we are multiplying with the voltage. The power is just voltage into current. Voltage across the zener is 9 volt, current is 0.02. So 9 into 0.02 will give you 0.18. And lastly, we have this logic gate circuit. If A goes in here, understand from here A bar is going. A is going, passes through a NOT, goes an A bar. From here a B bar is going. This is an A coming here, this is a B coming here. So they pass through an AND gate, so this is A dot B bar. This is A bar dot B. They then pass through a OR gate. So that becomes a AB bar plus A bar B. Now in here you put the different values in. If I put A equal to 0, B equal to 1, that's basically 0 dot B bar will become 0 again. A bar is 1 dot 1. So you'll get 1 in the first case. So it's either this one or it is this one. The next case we will see A is equal to 1. If you put A 1, B is 1, so B bar will become 0. Plus A bar is how much? 0. Dot with B is 1, doesn't matter, this you get 0. So it is 1 and 0, it will be 0 in the second case, option 3. Okay. With that we finish our discussion for your Grand Test 5. I hope this was useful, students. Please keep writing your tests. I know it's like a challenging time for all of you, giving this NEET a second time, but think of it as another opportunity, an opportunity you did not want, but it has come. So let's prepare for that, give all the tests, and I'll see you all again in the next discussion.
Hello my dear students, welcome to the session. Today we are going to discuss about NEET Grand Test 5. So this question paper is very easy and as standard what we are expected for a NEET examination, and let us see the questions that we are going to see in this paper. This is the first question where it is a matching type question. These are all the phenols. When the phenols reacted with the particular reagent, what are the going to product formed? Look at this here, bromine, water and the phenol is going to give you tribromophenol. So I just want to say A is with R. And phenol with CHCl3, NaOH and H3O plus, it is a Riemann-Tiemann reaction. Salicylaldehyde is going to be the product and it is going to be BS. And the phenol is treated with concentrated nitric acid and H2SO4. You are going to get a picric acid and you are going to see C is going to be P. And the phenol reacted with Br2 and carbon disulfide as a nonpolar solvent, you are going to get a monobromo product. So D is going to be Q. By looking at that, the correct answer for this question is going to be, I am going to opt for option 2 is the correct answer for this reaction. Moving ahead, one more question here. Action of HNO2 and methylamine gives which of the following products? Let us see CH3NH2 when it is treated with HNO2 nitric acid, diazotization takes place and it is going to give us CH3N2 plus. It is a highly unstable alkyl diazonium compounds are highly unstable and it is going to be automatically hydrolyzed to give rise its corresponding alcohol, methyl alcohol. So for this question, option 3 is the correct answer. Moving ahead, here it is a one more question. It is talking about ionization. Which of the following is 100% ionized even at a moderate dilution? 100% ionized, which indicates it is a strong electrolyte. So acetic acid is a weak acid, is a weak electrolyte. HCN is a weak acid, weak electrolyte. Ammonium hydroxide is a strong base, weak electrolyte. And sodium chloride is a salt of a strong acid and a strong base is absolutely it is a strong electrolyte. Option C is the correct answer for this question. Here it is a question, what is the volume of carbon dioxide liberated at STP when 2.12 grams of sodium carbonate is treated with excess of dilute HCl? Na2CO3 when it is treated with HCl it is going to give rise NaCl plus H2O plus CO2. If we balance it, is going to get it here 2 and 2. By looking at this, 1 mole of sodium carbonate gives rise 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So let's talk about the number of moles of sodium carbonate. It is going to be 2.12 upon 106, it is going to be 0.02 mole. So according to this, 0.02 mole of sodium carbonate can give rise 0.02 mole of carbon dioxide. Volume of carbon dioxide is equal to 0.02 into 22.4. So the answer for this question is going to be 0.448 liters at STP. Moving ahead here, there are elements are given, number of unpaired electrons has to be written. Phosphorus, chromium, iron and krypton. You are going to see here, phosphorus, it is going to be 3s2, 3p3, so 3 unpaired electrons are there, phosphorus. A is going to be 3. And chromium electronic configuration is going to be 4s1, 3d5. I could find 6 unpaired electrons over here, so it is going to be B. Iron, 3d6 and 4s2, you are going to get 4 unpaired electron. I just want to say for iron, you are going to see C. And krypton being a noble gas, it is going to have ns2, np6, it is completely filled shell and has no unpaired electron, it is going to be D. So with respect, I want to give you the option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is a route mapping question. It is asking about benzene. When it is treated with Cl2 and anhydrous AlCl3, you are going to get chlorobenzene. This is going to be A. When this the benzene is treated with Cl2 in UV, you are going to get C6H6Cl6. So hexachlorobenzene. And the correct statement is going to be A is going to be chlorobenzene and B is going to be C6H6Cl6. The correct answer is going to be A is C6H6Cl. Here it is going to be C6H5Cl and B is going to be C6H6Cl6. So the answer is supposed to be 3. Here it is a printing mistake is seen. Moving ahead, students, here it is given a product A and B obtained in the following sequence of reactions respectively. When alcohol react with PCl3, you are going to get RCl and you are going to see H3PO3. A is going to be H3PO3. While the alcohol react with PCl5, you are going to get alkyl chloride plus HCl plus POCl3 is formed. So B is going to be POCl3. With this respect, option 2, A is equal to H3PO3, B is equal to POCl3 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, here it is the question I was asking about match the following type question, and the transition metals are given here and their respective oxidation states are given. So you are going to see the electronic configuration of these transition elements, and it is going to be scandium, titanium, it is going to be 3d24s2, and it is going to be after titanium, vanadium, 3d34s2 and 3d54s2 and 3d10 and 4s1. So the copper exhibit a maximum of +2 oxidation state and manganese exhibit +7 oxidation state, vanadium exhibit +5 oxidation state, titanium exhibit +4 oxidation state when they utilize this outer shell electrons. So based on this, I would say the option 1 is going to be the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, here is one more question, AB to E2 type molecule among the following. So A is a central atom, B is a bonded electrons, and the bond pair of electrons is the lone pair of electrons. If it is say oxygen, you can say is a central atom and two hydrogens. So it is A, B2 and two electron pairs are seen. It is a bent structure and it is going to be E2, AB2, E2. My answer for this question is going to be option 4. Moving ahead, this is a question from electrochemistry. In the Daniell cell, the process occurs at anode. So in the Daniell cell, you are going to see zinc is dipped in zinc sulfate and copper is dipped in copper sulfate, and that is connected through external circuit and voltmeter and a salt bridge, and this is anode and this is a cathode, and at anode oxidation takes place. So zinc is losing electron and gives rise, it is converted into zinc 2 plus. So it is pretty easy answer. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from chemical kinetics and this question is asking about decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. It is a well established fact. It is going to be the first order reaction. And K 308 Kelvin upon K 298 mean to say it is defined as a temperature coefficient and it is the ratio of rate constant at a 10 degree rise and rate constant at a given temperature, and it is going to be temperature quotient. It is supposed to be generally 2 or 3 for the most of the reactions. And RE-NEET equation tells you K is equal to A exponent EA by RT, and at two different temperatures, at T1 temperature rate constant K1, at a T2 temperature rate constant K2, and log K2 by K1 is equal to 2 EA by 2.303 R of 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2, and it is going to be the RE-NEET equation. And T 99%, time required for 99.9% of a reaction is going to be 10 times of the half life. So if this is for the first order reactions, and I want to say it is going to be P. Based on that, we can say option 1 is the correct answer. So while solving NEET examination paper, you need to maintain that pace and you should have that confidence to find what exactly the concept behind that. And moving ahead, in 3D series, the element with the least density, and in the least density, it is said that the density always directly proportional to its atomic mass. So density increases as atomic mass increases and also size decreases. So among them, you can say scandium is having the lowest atomic mass and the largest size. So scandium is the least density element, and the pattern of the physical properties of the transition elements is pretty well important. And moving ahead, which of the following compound does not decolorize bromine water in bromine and CCl4? So this can happen when unsaturation is there. So alkene, alkyne can give this decolorization. Ethylene, so it is going to be CH2 double bond CH2, it decolorizes. Acetylene, CH triple bond CH, it decolorizes. Benzene, though it has 3 double bonds in it, it do not behave like an alkane because of the delocalization of pi electron system. And phenol decolorizes. Why? Because bromine you are going to get, so it decolorizes. So my answer for this question is going to be option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, here it is a quantum theory. So energy of the two photons, E is equal to hc by lambda. E is inversely proportional to lambda E1 by E2. E1 by E2 is equal to lambda 2 by lambda 1. So the lambda 2 is going to be 4000 and the lambda 1 is going to be 2000. So it is going to be 2:1. The answer for this question is going to be option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, here is one more, a colorless salt with H2SO4 gives a rotten egg smell gas, and the salt is going to be, so it is going to be rotten egg smell. In this rotten egg smell, you are going to see S2 minus and you are going to see H2S. So who is going to give? Copper sulfide is a covalent, nickel sulfide is a covalent, carbonate do not give, but the Na2S is being ionic, it can give free sulfide ions, can give the rotten egg smell H2S gas. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, here is a question from organic chemistry, nucleophilic substitution reaction. In this, you are going to see ambident nucleophile. So, alkyl halide react with KCN gives rise cyanide, alkyl halide react with AgCN gives isocyanide. So, CH3Cl, AgCN is going to give rise to CH3NC isocyanide. And when it is reduced with H2PD, you are going to get CH3, NH and CH3. Dimethylamine is going to be formed for this question. Option 2 is the correct answer. Moving ahead, it is a periodic property. You can claim this question from the periodic properties or group 16 elements. It is asking negative electron gain enthalpy is least for down the group, electron gain enthalpy decreases. So, we are going to get electron gain enthalpy, oxygen is greater than sulfur, but there is an exception, this is not correct due to small size, and oxygen is supposed to be the least as compared to the other elements in the group 16. Due to very small size, the incoming electrophile experiences inter-electronic repulsion. So, my option for this question is option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, here is a question from transition elements. In these transition elements, which of the following transition elements do not show variable oxidation state? All the transition elements in the 3D series exhibit variable oxidation state. Here it is a scandium is the only 3D element which shows only one type of oxidation state, that is +3 oxidation state. So that this question answer is going to be the 4 for this question. Students, here is a question asking about a detection of elements in the first year organic chemistry, some basic principles and techniques in the organic chemistry. It is asking on addition of FeCl3 to acidified lysine solution, a blood coloration is produced. It indicates the presence of. In the lysine solution, if nitrogen and sulfur are present, okay, you are going to react with sodium, okay, and it is going to be react with carbon. So, NaCNS is formed. To this, if you add FeCl3, FeCl3 contain Fe3 plus, you are going to get FeNCS. So, you are going to get red blood color solution. So, presence of nitrogen and sulfur are being decided based on this lysine test. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a question based on the mole concept. Here it is asking about the maximum number of molecules present. So, number of molecules is directly proportional to number of moles. So, 4 grams of hydrogen, number of moles is equal to 4 divided by its molecular mass is going to be 2 mole. 112 liters of ammonia. So, number of moles is equal to 112 upon 22.4 is equal to 5 mole. 5 gram atoms means 5 moles of oxygen atom. So, each oxygen molecule contains 2 oxygen atoms. So, that number of moles of oxygen is equal to 12 by 2 is equal to 6 mole. So, 64 gram atoms of methane. So, moles of methane is equal to 64 grams. So, it is going to be 64 by 12. It is going to be 4 mole. So, highest mole is attributed here with oxygen. So, option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from isomerism. In this question, it is asked about a pair of compounds are given and is an example of. So, methoxy group is present on carbon atom number 1, 2, 3, carbon atom number 1. Methoxy group is present on carbon atom number 2 in this compound. So, this is said to be position isomers. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is the question asking about which of the following elements is most metallic. So, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. Down the group, metallic nature increases, electropositivity increases, so that I would like to say bismuth is the most metallic. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, it is asking about ionic bond. So, ionic bond is formed between a cation and anion. A cation is formed by a metal which has a low ionization energy, and anion formed by the non-metal which has high electron affinity. So, high electropositive element a metal and high electronegative element a non-metal. So, that option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Here students, this question is based on the match the following based on the bond parameters. Here list 1 some compounds greater than or less than is given, and the bond angle, bond energy, bond parameters are given. In NH3, so the lone pair of electron hydrogen, 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 and NF3 the lone pair of electron fluorine and fluorine and fluorine. In that you can see the bond moment and it is added with the lone pair, and the bond moment is opposed by the lone pair moment. Therefore, dipole moment of NH3 is greater than dipole moment of NF3. So, I want to say here it is 1 is going to be with yes. And you can see CCl4 carbon tetrachloride, the bond angle is exactly 109.5, H2O 104.5. So, the bond angle of CCl4 is greater than H2O, I would like to say it is going to be P. And Cl2 and F2, bond energy of the fluorine is less as compared to chlorine because of this lone pair getting repulsion. So, I just want to say bond dissociation energy Q, and HF and H2O, and you want to say here strength of hydrogen bond is directly proportional to the electronegativity. So, strength of hydrogen bond is going to be like this. Based on that, I want to say option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is a question from thermodynamics. In thermodynamics, which of the following property is an intensive property? So, the intensive property which is independent of the size. So, here it is all given as a pressure, temperature, volume and density. And here the volume is the one, it is dependent on the size of the matter. So, that pressure you take, it is independent on the size, and temperature you take is independent on size, and density you take independent on the size. You take a glass of pure water, density is 1, and a beaker of water, tank of water, density is 1 only. So, it is independent, but volume you take, as the size of the volume increases, volume parameter changes. So, option 3 is going to be the correct answer. Students, this is the question based on this alkane oxidation, catalytic oxidation of alkane. Methane react with steam in the presence of nickel as a catalyst, and you heat it at high temperature. So, you are going to get steam reformation. So, it is going to be CO plus H2, you are going to get it. So, water gas is going to be formed, and option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Here is a organic chemistry question, distinction test between carbonyls and non-carbonyls. Here it is given as 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine, 2,4-DNP. It is also called as a Brady's reagent. This test is given by all carbonyls, all carbonyl compounds. So all carbonyl compounds means it could be aldehyde and it could be ketone as well. So for this question, means do not give ether, do not give halogen, do not give aldehydes, can give option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Here is a question from electrolysis. So the products that are obtained at cathode and anode when aqueous solution of Na2SO4 is electrolyzed by using inert electrolytes. So Na2SO4 aqueous, it is going to give you Na plus and SO4 2 minus and Hu plus and OH minus. So in the presence of Hu plus, Na plus will not be deposited and H plus is going to give rise hydrogen gas at cathode, and at anode OH minus is going to be deposited, sulfate will not be, so that OH minus is going to lose electrons and it gives rise H2O and oxygen is liberated, so that oxygen is liberated at anode. So here the hydrogen and oxygen, option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Here it is a multi statement, we have to identify whether it is true or false. Which of the following is true? So we have to identify the true statements. Alcohol gives colored solution with ferric ammonium nitrate. It is a phenomenal and it is a true statement. Aldehydes and ketone gives red colored precipitate with 2,4-DNP, just in the previous question paper we have seen, and this is also correct. Aliphatic as well as aromatic carboxylic acid give carbon dioxide with sodium bicarbonate. So all acids will give carbon dioxide when it is treated with sodium bicarbonate. This is also true. All statements are true. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is a question from biomolecules, nucleic acid. You are all from bio students. You understand the difference between DNA and RNA, heterocyclic base. In both DNA and RNA, heterocyclic base and phosphate ester linkages at. So it is present at C5 and C2 respectively of the sugar molecule, and it is at C1 and C5 in this base. You can see this is a ribose and it is going to be a base, and in this base this is a C1 and this is going to be C5, and you are going to get a phosphate, and this is a sugar, this is present at a C5, that is going to be at a C5. So C1 is at a base and C5 at a phosphate. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a combination of redox reactions and stoichiometry. Let us talk about 0.1 molar solution of Ki react with excess of H2SO4 and KiO3 solutions according to the equation. So multiple statements are given, you have to identify which is correct. And let us talk about number of moles of Ki is required. Moles of potassium iodide, it is going to be 0.1 into 200 milliliters, and it is given as a, if you solve for the first option, 200 milliliters means it is going to be 0.2. I want to say 0.02. So moles of KiO3 is equal to, so 1 by 5 times of moles of potassium iodide, that is going to be 1 by 5 into 0.02 is coming to be 0.004. As exactly the option 1 is matching. Now in this scenario you can see iodine, it is going to be plus 5 oxidation state and is converting into 0 oxidation state. So we need 5 electrons for this transformation, and Equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by n factor. N factor is going to be 5 over here. Molecular weight by 5 is the correct answer. So I want to say A and D are the correct options for this. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a question directly from Raoult's law. It is asked when HNO3 is mixed with H2O, it is going to form a negative deviation from Raoult law. And whenever the solution is formed, entropy is supposed to be always positive. So whenever negative deviation from Raoult law is seen, the intermolecular forces after mixing is greater as compared to the before mixing. So HNO3 H2O intermolecular force is always greater and delta S mix is greater than 0. So I want to say option 2 is correct. But here P total should be less than PHNO3 and PH2O. That is a negative deviation, therefore it is a wrong. Delta S cannot be 0, wrong. And delta H means 0 less than 0 and it forms a maximum boiling azeotrope, therefore it is also a wrong. So I want to say option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is a question from buffer solution. Directly we can use Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. It is a buffer solution mixed by ammonium salt and ammonia. So POH is equal to pKb plus log salt by base. This is Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. You can directly calculate POH from this. To calculate pKb, so pKb is equal to negative log Kb, negative log 1.8 into 10 power minus 5. So 5 minus log 1.8 is equal to 4.7. So POH is equal to 4.7 plus log salt concentration is given 0.2 and base concentration is given 0.3. On solving POH is going to be 4.56 you are going to get. As you know, pH is equal to 14 minus POH and 14 minus that is 4.56, you are going to get the answer 9.4 is the answer. So option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is a question asking about consider the following A, B, C, D statements are given. You have to find the correct statements. So let us find whether these statements are correct or not. Cesium is the strongest reducing agent, wrong. Lithium is the strongest reducing agent in the first A group, of course. Perhaps it is for the entire periodic table as elemental state. Beryllium hydroxide is amphoteric, correct. All the S block elements are basic hydroxides except beryllium hydroxide. The density of potassium is less than that of sodium because of the 3D 0 orbitals, correct. Among the alkali metal, lithium, sodium, potassium and rubidium, lithium has the maximum value of melting point exactly due to small size. It is in the metallic lattice, it is strongly bonded. So I would say B, C, D are the correct. So option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a simple periodic properties question. It is asking consider the element boron, aluminum, magnesium, potassium. The correct order of their metallic character is going to be potassium is greater than, magnesium is greater than because they are S block elements. Then comes to aluminum and boron is nearly behave like a non-metal. So I would say option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is directly from the IUPAC nomenclature. So this is the principal carbon chain. So from where I have to give the numbering? When both double bond or triple bond are present at equal positions, give the preference to double bond, so that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is going to be 3 methyl pent 1 in and 5 in. So I want to say option 1 is the correct answer for this question. So this is the question. Match the following. Xenon compounds are there and their geometries are given. Let us say XeF4 xenon, it is going to be square planar. XeF6, you are going to get Xe, lone pair of electrons, so it is going to be F, distorted octahedral, and XeO3 is going to be Xe, and it is a pyramidal double bond O, double bond O, and double bond O. XeOF4 square pyramidal, Xe double bond O, and F and F, and it is going to be square pyramidal. So I just want to say the option for this is going to be option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, it is a chemical kinetics question. In this chemical kinetics question, you are going to see A concentrations, B concentration, initial rate is given. So we can say rate is going to be K, A to the power X and B to the power Y. So I don't want to do the numerical here, rather I just want to show you how to tackle this question. Initial concentration is doubled, A is doubled, B kept a constant. When A is doubled, rate is independent. So that I want to say it is going to be 0. When it comes to 0.1 becomes 0.2 and 0.002 becomes 0.008. So when the concentration is doubled, rate becomes 4 times. So this is respective to B is second order. I want to say rate is equal to K A to the power 0 and B square. So the overall order is going to be second order. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. So students, it is a question directly asking about the ligand. Among the following, the ambidentate ligand. Ammonia is not ambidentate ligand. What is an ambidentate ligand? A ligand which has a more than one donor atom is called ambidentate ligand. So SCN and NCS can be an ambidentate ligand. Oxalate cannot be an ambidentate ligand, and CN can be NC minus is going to be ambidentate ligand. I can say B and D or the ambidentate ligand. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. This question is from thermodynamics. For the gaseous reaction, delta H is given, delta S is given. Assuming delta H and delta S is constant in a given range of temperature, the temperature in which the reaction is spontaneous. We know that delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. For the spontaneous, delta G is going to be less than 0. So this value is going to be less than 0. So that T is supposed to be equal delta H by delta S. So by doing so, temperature it should be greater than or equal. So delta H value is given 600 kilojoules and delta S is given 0.4. On doing so, temperature should be equal or greater than 1500 Kelvin. So the answer for this question is going to be slightly greater than 1500 Kelvin. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead, the formal charge of the carbon atom in the octet Lewis structure of CO. So formal charge can be calculated by using number of valence electron minus number of non-bonded electrons by minus bonded electrons by 2. So carbon triple bond oxygen. So if you apply this, is going to be valency of the carbon is going to be 4, non-bonded electrons are going to be 2 minus bonded electrons 1, 2, 3 bonds are there 6 by 2. On doing so, formal charge is going to be -1. So my answer for this question is going to be option 4. Students, here is the reaction. For the reaction SO2 plus half O2 reversibly gives rise SO3. If the Kp is given as KCRT to the power delta x, the value of x. Here delta x is going to be, Kp is going to be equal to KCRT to the power delta n. That is said to be, delta n is said to be x over here, it is going to be sum of the number of moles of gaseous products minus sum of the number of moles of gaseous reactants. So products, I got it is 1 here, minus I got it is 1 here, plus I got it is a half here. So 1 minus 1.5. So it is going to be -1/2 is the answer for this question. Moving ahead here, it is a question based on the calculation of activation energy from the chemical kinetics. The slope of the graph drawn between L and K and 1/T will have -2500 and the value of activation energy in calories. Now you can see here, so this is L and K and 1/T. It is going to be a slope, and it is going to be slope is going to be -EA/R. Okay, so that value is given here. Activation energy, it is going to be -2500 is given, -EA/R. R value, calories you can take it as a 2, 1.98 and -2500. So activation energy is said to be calculated as 5000 will come. So you can make it as 1.98 as a 2, it is going to be 5000 approximately calories will come. So the answer 1 is the correct answer for this question. Moving ahead here, CO2 C6H5 MgBr is the dry ether. So that you are going to get, this is C6H5 MgBr, so carbon dioxide, it's a Grignard reagent, it is going to give rise benzoic acid. So this is hydrolyzed to give rise benzoic acid, and it is treated with ammonia, and it is going to be heated. CONH2 is formed, this is your B, this is your A and this is your B, and it is treated with KOH and Br2, you are going to get aniline, you are going to get aniline, Hoffman bromide degradation, this is your C, and it is treated with NaNO2 HCl. Okay, it is formed a benzene diazonium chloride followed by hydrolysis, it is going to give rise a phenol, and this is your D. D is treated with zinc, reduction takes place, you are going to get benzene, this is your E. So here E is nothing but your benzene, option 1 is the correct answer for this question. And you can see here the list of the complexes here. Here list of the complexes and the type of isomerism is seen here. And here you can see ambidentate linkage ligands are there. So they are going to say linkage isomerism, and I just want to say linkage isomerism A is going to be 3. And you can see these Cr NH36 CO CN6. So you are going to get, these are the coordination isomers, and this is going to show you the coordination isomerism, and 2, and CONH35 SO4 and BrSO4, they differ in the ions they furnish. So I just want to say it is going to be ionization isomerism, and you are going to see water molecule inside outside the square bracket. It is said to be solvate isomerism. 3 2 1 4 3 2 1 4. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question, and it is going to be option 3. So like this you can have the questions based on this match the following kind of things, and you never and ever fear about the questions, and the paper is so nice, and all the best for your ReNEET examination. Thank you very much.